All right, Rangers. We finished, at long last, the French Revolution. I'm going to post a couple of reviews for you guys to work on this week. And we talked about the age of Napoleon. And so now we're going to move into, as we started in the United States, the thing reverberated across France, and now it's coming back over here to the Americas. And we're going to talk about revolutions in Latin America. First in the Caribbean and the island of Haiti, and then in South America and in Mexico. And with the wars of the French Revolution going on, the colonies had time to come up for air. France and Spain couldn't beat down upon them because they were at war over in Europe. And so this is going to spark different independence movements in Latin America, right? From 1804 to 1824, we're going to get about a 21 year period where the French, the Spanish, and the Portuguese are all going to be removed from the American colonies. And part of the problem is going to stem from the hierarchical system that existed in some of these colonies. If you were a noble that was born in Spain or Portugal, Spanish-born nobles are Old World nobles known as a peninsulare. Right? So let's say over here, Macari is born in Spain and Portugal. He is a peninsulare. He leaves and becomes a governor of Haiti, let's say. Well, Macari's children will be nobles, but they will become known as Creoles, or nobles born in the New World. They're kind of a JV noble to a peninsulare. And what that means is if Macari's son replaces him as governor, and a peninsulare from Spain moves over, because he's Old World, he can remove Macari's son, take his job, and take his house. Creoles just don't like this, as peninsulares fleeing the wars and the revolution will come over and take the top jobs in the government and in the church. And so this will put the peninsulares constantly at odds with the Creoles. Creoles were French and Spanish and Portuguese aristocrats that had been born in the New World. They didn't have Old World connections. They didn't have Old World money. They're nobles, but they're in the New World. So they assume this secondary position. And these Creoles were secondary nobles, again, could have their jobs completely taken from them. And this drives them crazy. So they want to gain independence from the mother country. They want to break the stranglehold of the mother country, but they do not want to give up their rights and privileges. Remember that in the New World. And so Napoleon's conquest of Spain made things real tricky because he places his brother on the Spanish throne. Right? My bro is going to be on the throne. So we have a combined. France now also gets the assets of these Spanish New World colonies. So the Creoles are angry as the French and Spanish leave the revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. And the Spanish territory is then given to France. And so the Creoles are going to work with the native populations to fight the Spanish and the French monarchies. So they could gain independence, but the natives will never benefit from independence. They will do a lot of the fighting and a lot of the heavy lifting, but they don't get to benefit. And so Creoles, along with other merchants in Latin America, also want to trade freely. Right? They literally do not want to have to buy things from France when they can get it from a Spanish colony. The Spanish don't want to buy it from Spain if they can get it from England, British tea for Spanish or French sugar. And so they want to benefit themselves, not just for the motherland. And so the first place we're going to see this rear up, first movement for independence, is in the island of Haiti. Right? Today, one of the poorest third world countries in the Western Hemisphere. And it's going to be led by a Jedi named Toussaint L'Ouverture, who is going to lead the slaves to rebel against France, Spain, and England. Now, the revolution in Haiti is going to happen because France simply could not control its colonies during the revolution. All right? So here is what we're going to have, what we are talking about going on. And here is the island of Haiti, Hispaniola, what we are talking about. And if you look at Latin America on this legend, everything that has a color on it is going to be dominated and colonized. So here is what we said. The Creoles are nobles born in the New World. They did not like their loss of status to the Peninsulares. Now Spain needs money to fight a war with Napoleon. All right? And because Spain didn't have a good world history teacher, or they didn't pay attention, rather than tax their own citizens in Spain, they decided they would tax their colonists in the New World, exactly what England had done. All right, and we all know what happened in the United States Revolution. They simply didn't pay attention. This doesn't work, and they lose to Napoleon. So I'm going to tell you about Toussaint here real fast. What do I want to say here? The large uprising of Haiti is going to be at the hands of a repressed social class that is a reoccurring theme in most revolutions. And Haiti is no different. Haiti is also known as Hispaniola. And Haiti is going to achieve its independence in 1804 following a slave revolt that starts way back in 1791 by this guy. Haiti is one of the most valuable colonies that France has. French nobles own large sugar plantations. And sugar, if you guys remember back in the slave trading unit, was all important. If you could give sugar to a guest, you were crazy rich. So people became literally millionaires off of the sugar trade. But these plantations were run by hundreds of slaves working in brutal conditions, from chopping the sugar cane in the field to dragging it to the grinding mills to boiling it into molasses in these hot subterranean basements where it's already humid outside, and if the steam or molasses gets on you, it's a third-degree burn. Into some of the most brutal slave labor in all of the New World. And so also we have free French people, but they were half French and half native. And since they were 50-50, they were never accepted. They were treated very badly by the French, and they were not welcomed by their own native people because they were half and half. And this brings in Toussaint L'Ouverture. The Haitian independence movement is started by him, and he was a guy who was born a slave. But his dad was a West African noble, most likely from like Mali or Songhai. So he teaches his son to be very proud of his African heritage. So Toussaint not only learned his language, but he also learned French. And he also developed the mystical abilities to read and write. And so, since he was literate, he gets a job working as kind of like the store manager for his plantation owner. Like, being the accountant, how much harvest are we bringing in? How much are we sending out? Who owes us money? How much are we making? He's kind of running the show. So he is like got the very best job that a slave could have. And when he's working in the office, he becomes aware of the Enlightenment philosophies from like Locke and Rousseau and Montesquieu. And so they stick with him, and the slave revolt breaks out in 1791. Toussaint helps his master and his family escape before they're massacred, and he joins the revolution. And he's 48 years old at this point. He's a little younger than I am, and his intelligence is matched by his skill as a general. So it earns him the position of leader. So Toussaint's army of slaves fights against the armies of Spain who try and get their stuff back. And then against England, who saw, okay, if Spain is defeated, now we can jump in. So he defeats Spanish soldiers, he defeats British soldiers, and then French soldiers. And so it was one of the bloodiest, most violent revolutions in the Americas. But by 1798, Toussaint has achieved his goal. The enslaved Haitians have won, and it looks like they're going to be free, but they're still technically a French colony, and Napoleon is in charge. Now Toussaint starts to rebuild his country that had been devastated by long years of warfare, and he works with the French nobles and the Haitian natives to kind of come together and work to expand trade and to rebuild all the damage that had been done, and he wants to write a Haitian constitution. Right? And he even wants to get a government where whites and even mixed-race Haitians and Africans can work together. And that's his plan. But now comes the struggle with France. During the slave revolt in Haiti, Napoleon had come to power, and he wants Haiti. He needs it because growing and expanding is the United States. The United States is expanding westward towards the Mississippi River. Now from Louisiana, if we can go back here, from Louisiana all the way over pretty much to Seattle is territory owned by France. Napoleon wants to keep that from the encroaching Americans. And so Napoleon wants to use Haiti as a staging area to put boots on the ground in New Orleans to stop the American advance. So he sends his soldiers there to build up, his military camp. But the French troops start falling victim to yellow fever, and they couldn't fight. And Toussaint is again called in to be a military leader. When Napoleon realizes what's happening, they call Toussaint into a house very close to the seashore to have a peace settlement. And as he comes in under flag of truce, it's a total trap. French soldiers seize him, knock him to the ground, handcuff him, run him out the back of the house, down to the beach and out to his ship before his men realize what's going on. And Toussaint is taken to France, where he is going to unfortunately die. But in 1804, realizing that he could not hang on to Haiti, Napoleon, trying to get money, will sell the Louisiana Purchase to President Thomas Jefferson for $12 million, one of the greatest real estate deals of all time. And Haiti is able to declare their independence from France. And so over the next 16 years, different Haitian leaders are going to fight for power. And it is not until 1820 that Haiti becomes a new republic. And while the slaves will be freed, they are still on the bottom of the barrel. Instead of being slaves, they are now poor wage workers, as the aristocrats in place wanted to keep their social position. But in 1820, Haiti is the only non-slave working nation in the Americas. So that is Haiti, guys. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about South America with Jose de San Martin and Simon Bolivar. It'll be a little bit longer than today's lecture. I'm going to get these guided notes to you. I think you already have them, and I'm going to ask you some questions about Toussaint and about the American revolutions that you guys can use the PowerPoint to answer. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.